Bahagi ng pinirmahang Visiting Forces Agreement ng Estados Unidos at ng ating bansa ay ang taunang pagsasagawa ng balikatan exercises, kung saan ang ating sandatahang lakas, kasama ang hukbong Amerika, ay nagsasanay na harapin ang iba't ibang senaryo na maaaring mangyari sa ating bayan. Kasama na dito ang pagsasagawa ng iba't ibang humanitarian assistance at disaster preparedness, pati civil military operations na nasa ilalim pa rin ng taunang balikatan exercises. With the help of the Joint U.S. Military Assistance Group, or JUSMAG, let's learn more about this as we welcome to the program Bayanihan, Lieutenant Colonel Michael WYLIE. Good evening, Michael.
Magandang gabi po. Magandang gabi sa bahay.
Magandang gabi rin, Michael. Napakaganda na yung Tagalog mo ay nakakapalambot na aming puso at alam namin na ang puso mo ay kasama rin dito sa exercises na tinatawag natin na balikatan. What is balikatan all about? Can you give us a background on this?
Balikatan is a bilateral exercise between the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the U.S. Armed Forces, and it actually means the meaning of the term balikatan is shoulder to shoulder. And this year in April, we'll have the 29th iteration of this exercise, where our militaries come together and increase our operability and work on our partnership that has been a long-standing, productive addition to the security within the region.
29 balikatan exercises.
Yes, sir.
So that's a long time. It talks about the relationship that we have with our lone treaty partner, the United States of America. When will this happen and where?
The exercise is going to take place between 5 and 17 April, and it is going to primarily be at our typical exercise locations. Clark Air Base will be at Fort McSaysay, Naval Education Training Command in Zambales, and at Camp O'Donnell up in Capas, near Capas Tarlac, and of course Crow Valley in Capas Tarlac.
From the point of view of our treaty partners, why is this important to the United States?
It's important to us because you are one of our most important allies. We have a unique, long-standing relationship with the Philippines, and quite frankly, it's good to operate with a friend. We increase our interoperability, we understand how you operate, you understand how we operate, so that in times of crisis, we can come together and maximize our effects, most specifically in a humanitarian assistance disaster response scenario.
And for this year, Mike, what activities are we expecting for Balikatan? Are there going to be engineering works? Are there civil military operations activities that we have programmed for this?
Yeah, we've actually, one of our primary lines of operation for Balikatan this year is humanitarian assistance disaster response. We've got a staff X that's going to be going the entire time, where Armed Forces of the Philippines staff will work with a U.S. staff on a scenario. And then we've also got a cooperative health engagement going on, or several of them actually, 6 of them going on throughout the exercise in Zambales. And then we also have some engineering projects where U.S. and Philippine engineers get together and do things like renovate schoolhouses, build footbridges within communities, things to give back to the Philippine community for being such a great partner. And we get to work once again with our Philippine partners in a way that is positive and productive.
I remember for Balikatan 2012, we built around 7 school buildings in the province of Palawan at the Westcom area of responsibility. So right now, these buildings and their construction works will be in Luzon. Is that correct?
That is correct. In the Zambales area this time, focused on Zambales.
Yes, and for the Filipino soldiers, what is good about working with Balikatan is that when we say we're working with Americans, we're not actually working with Americans alone. We are working with Filipino Americans, because every time there's a Balikatan, I notice that there's a good number in the American forces, soldiers and officers of Filipino descent. How many will there be? How many fill-outs will there be this year?
In virtually every unit that I've served in, there's been a large percentage of fill-ins. Where I come from in San Diego, a large Filipino-American population, and in all the American services, Filipino Americans represent, both of their backgrounds, their American and Filipino backgrounds well. I can't give you an exact percentage, but I can tell you that Filipino Americans are well represented within the armed forces in the United States.
Yes, and it's also one of the big influences that make the Americans come to the Philippines year after year after year.
Absolutely. We have that unique partnership and that unique relationship. You know, so many people that we know back in the States have family here in the Philippines and vice versa.
You're right, Mike. I understand that there's not one Filipino family who doesn't have a relative in the United States.
That seems to be the case. In my 6 months here, virtually every individual that I speak to has a cousin or aunt or uncle or brother or somebody in the U.S. So once again, that kind of cements that partnership, I think, between the Philippines and the United States.
For a typical American, when you talk about balikatan, and this is translated to the English language, would mean shoulder to shoulder. What would that mean?
I think it means working together towards a common goal in partnership.
And for the past 29 years of balikatan, we've been doing that.
Yes, we
And
have.
we're looking forward to a lot more balikatan exercises in the future.
Absolutely, and we look forward to making this Balikatan exercise a great success, working with our partners, the Armed Forces.
Thank you, Mike. Any parting words for our kasangbahay?
No, it's great to be here in the Philippines, and we look forward to a successful exercise. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, and good evening also. Truly, the balikatan exercises is more than any military training program. Sa ganitong okasyon, nagkakaroon ng pagkakataon ng dalawang kampo na matuto sa isa't isa alinsunod sa kasunduan ng dalawang bansa. Mga kasangbahay, manatili po kayong nakatutok dahil mamaya atin namang makakasama ang kinatawan mula sa OPAP upang bigyan tayo ng updates sa peace agreements doon sa Cordillera region.